On this week's GMAC interviews, we are delighted to be joined by Irish singer-songwriter Eimear Crehan.
Music for me is like an expression of, it's a therapeutic expression more than anything else. It's like I'm almost like more in the realms of music therapy than rock and roll music.
A wonderful artist who is currently in the middle of the tour, but took time out of her busy day to join us here at the wonderful Queen's in Dalkey.
And I've been through a lot of health changes and a lot of personal development work, and to get to where I am now, kind of matching inside and out and working through a lot of, body stuff.
So without any further ado, here's Eimear.
The All Walks podcast is now in your ear.
Go live! Well, as always, I'm delighted to be here at the Queen's with Eimear Crehan. Eimear, thank you so much for coming in.
You're very welcome. How are you?
I'm doing very well. I know you're in the middle of a tour. So far, it's been incredibly successful. You've just played with Paul Brady last week. Pictures and the videos, it looked incredible. How was it?
Yeah, it's an absolute privilege to share a stage with Paul Brady. He's such a legend and such a gentleman, and he has so much stamina and stage presence and wisdom and so much stories. The music is so alive in him. Every song just takes you on it. You're with him in the States, you're with him all over the world with all the different stories. It's really, really amazing. And his fans are brilliant. Like, his fans are a really listening audience. They really appreciate music. They really appreciate artistry. It's been really amazing. I've done 4 dates with him now, and fingers crossed we'll do more.
Oh, that's brilliant, because from looking at your journey, particularly when you're on tour, it's hectic.
Yeah.
Just hold on 1 second.
No worries.
Come on up here, yeah.
Do you want me to start again?
No, we're good. Just take it up where we are. I know, it's what it is.
Is life on tour all it's made up to be?
I'm not on tour the way other artists are on tour. I'm doing, this tour is only 8 dates, but they're big dates in big venues, big theatres. And the show that I'm doing is called Grand Moor, which is Irish for Big Love.
Okay.
I love the Cúpla Focal.
Okay.
And I've been signing things Big Love for years and years. So I decided to kind of marry my love of choirs with my love of my own music and gigging. And I've been doing a lot of support acts. Sorry, say that again.
Okay.
I've been doing a lot of support for other artists over the last couple of years. I was really lucky to tour with Mary Coughlin and with Jack L and artists like that, as well as doing kind of one big show a year. And then this year it was like, okay, it's time to level up, and nobody comes and knocks on your door and says, here, let me organise a national tour for you. So luckily I've been able to build some brilliant relationships over the years with venues, and so I booked myself a national tour, and I decided to involve choirs, local choirs, to each venue along the way. So there's like 10 choirs involved in the whole tour.
Amazing.
It's been so fun.
Speak Up, Sing Out
Yes.
is your company where you teach singing to individuals and choirs. Are you utilising those people during the tour? 2
of the choirs are from there, the community choir and the gospel choir. They have
gospel choir.
Yeah. I have a 75-piece gospel choir.
And we'll talk about the dates coming up. I know you're busy. You've got the 9th, the 11th, the 17th and 18th of May, as well as June, to end the tour. Mm-hmm. Where will the gospel choir be playing?
You missed it. They were
okay.
They were in the Sugar Club last week. We had a sold out Sugar Club last
I saw that
last week, and it was absolutely outstanding. They really brought their A game. Yeah, it was really amazing.
There's something about a gospel choir that is very special. Really
special. And they're the choir I've had the longest. I've had them coming up to 10 years in September. And they were the first choir that I started. And that choir started in September 2014. And then the music school, it was called Speak Up, Sing Out Gospel Choir because I had combined my music education with my coaching. I'd done a lot of training in life coaching and executive coaching, but I had branched off into creativity coaching, which has always been my area of interest. So I was starting to combine music and coaching together. So the choir started as a coaching based choir with the aim of elevating everybody's personal development, so that their experience of being in a choir was much more about their personal growth and personal development as opposed to anything to do with the singing, really.
Yeah, unreal. You can see
like
the passion coming out.
Yeah, coaching based choir. And then, interesting story, my father had always supported all of the work that I had ever done. And my mum had always been in choirs with me that I had. And that year, my dad decided to join the choir, which was the first time he'd ever sung. And he was 72, and he'd never been in a choir in his life. And he joined, and he was really inspirational, actually, in the choir. And he really helped develop the male section. All the men were like, oh wow, if this guy is singing for the first time, we can all do it. Because all of my choirs are amateur. We don't ever audition people. You don't have to be able to, I'm putting it in inverted commas, you don't have to be able to sing to join, you know, because I know that you learn that from the group, you learn that from being in it. And we started off this experience of letting everybody sing solo at the end of choir, and everybody else in the choir would do oohs and ahs, so you couldn't really be heard. It was a very safe space to sing solo. And so my dad was one of the first people who did that, one of the first men who did that. And it was really inspiring. And the following week, another man, inspired by what my dad had done, decided to sing solo for the first time. And it was his biggest dream to sing solo. His name is John. And that night, in the pub after the choir, he was saying, I would never have done that without your dad doing it the week before. He's so inspirational. So I rang my dad and said, Dad, you know what, you singing for the first time last week in front of all those men set off a big chain of events, and John was just saying he would never have done it without you. He said, you're very inspirational. And Dad said, I guess you didn't lick it off the ground so, pet.
Oh, God.
And then that was the last conversation I ever had with him, because the next day he passed away. He was working, building the local men's shed with a group of other men, and he had a heart attack on site when they were building the shed. And that was a massive shock, obviously, to our entire family. And it was also a massive Kickstarter to change what we were doing as a family. Individually, we had myself, and there's 7 children, but myself and my 2 sisters were all involved in music and singing. So we left our jobs, and within 6 weeks had found a premises to open the music school, and then within 12 weeks we opened it. So we opened it on the 3-month anniversary of Dad passing away, and it was called Speak Up Sing Out Music School. Yeah.
That's a great story. You can see the passion coming through now. It's lovely. Is your mum still with us?
Yeah.
And how's she doing?
Yeah, I mean, I think for somebody of my mum's generation, my mum is 83 now, or 83 this year. She'll kill me for saying that. Yeah, she's, she was only saying to me last night, wouldn't your dad love to see all this stuff that's happening? And, he would love it. And then the irony in that is that none of it would be happening if, he hadn't passed away, because it was what set, a whole series of things in motion, And I still work with the men's shed. They have a choir now, and I work with them every week. One of my favourite groups. Yeah.
God, a tough time, and I think to have that memory to live with you now through your music, through your father, is honestly, it's fantastic, and I must say it's a hell of a story.
Yeah, he's always present for me. It's it's beautiful.
Is your mum still down in Drogheda?
No, my mum's not in Drogheda. No.
Is she not?
No.
Okay.
Do you want to say that again?
Yeah. It's Dunboyne. No, Dunboyne.
Yeah.
Is your mum still in Dunboyne?
No, Mum and Dad both moved over to Kilcock, where the music school is, in 2006. We had a house that started off as a 2-bed house, but my dad and his brothers were very handy, and they just kept adding rooms on with no plan or permission until it was a 7-bedroom house. Oh, so then, in 2006, obviously all the kids had moved out, and they decided to move to a smaller place in Kilcock, so they came over to Kildare in 2006, and Mum is still there now.
Okay, super. And what was life back, if we go back to, answer that again, sorry. So let's go right back. What was your early childhood like growing up in Drogheda? One more time. Fucking Drogheda. The next person's Drogheda. Sorry. Hello, Eimear. How are you? So let's go right back. What was early life like in Dunboyne?
It was really interesting. When I was 6, my parents built a nursing home attached to my house. So I grew up in a nursing home, like Benjamin Button. But and that was an amazing childhood. I had 17 grannies and granddads, which made all of the people in school think I was a liar, which didn't bode well for my social skills. But I had a great time with that. I was there every day, and I had all of these grannies and granddads that I adored, and I sang for them all, and we would have entertained them a lot with, myself and my sisters would have entertained them a lot with piano playing and singing, and we played the tin whistle and the recorder, and we had a lot of our parents were very, just a little bit older than I am the second youngest of 7 children, so my mom was kind of already in her 40s when I was born. So they were much more interested in Irish music, like ballads and Irish folk music. So that's really what I grew up listening to. I didn't really have access to pop music or anything like that, so we would be playing all those kind of songs for... Sorry.
Yeah, don't worry about that.
Okay.
You can do it again.
So yeah, we would have grown up listening to an awful lot of Irish folk music and Irish country music and that kind of, and that's what we used to play for all the patients in the nursing home. And started singing at funerals when I was very, very young, doing the music for funerals. It was a big part of my calling and something that I really always loved doing. The kind of running joke was that we were paid to keen at the funerals because I'd always be crying. But yeah, it was a really interesting childhood, and I was always mad to work there. And my mum used to always say, "When you're 12," because she thought by the time I was 12, I would grow out of the desire to work. But on my 12th birthday, I was just delighted to get my nurse's uniform and be part of the staff and work there after school. I just really enjoyed the nursing. I always thought I would be a nurse, actually.
Yeah.
And it didn't go that way, but yeah, it was a really interesting childhood. And my parents had camper vans, and we went camping whenever Mum wasn't working. We'd go camping, so it was either the nursing home or away in the camper. Really, that's all of my childhood memories, really.
And the love of music, where did that stem from?
I think for me, I'm probably different than most musicians in that music for me is like an expression of, it's a therapeutic expression more than anything else. It's like I'm almost like more in the realms of music therapy than rock and roll music, even though I did spend a good few years like playing folk music and playing festivals, and I had a great time, but now music is, and really when I look back, always has been a method of understanding myself, understanding other people, and connecting with people and helping people to be heard and helping people to be understood. I've never had a drive for fame. I've never had a drive for the lifestyle of but I mean most musicians don't. Most musicians don't. It's really just more of an expression. So I'm kind of late to the game. I didn't start playing my own music until I was in my very late 20s. I think I was like 29 before I started. Is that right? 28 before I started. And I had been writing music from about 25, but I was so scared to share it with anybody. I was very nervous. I had a lot of stage fright, a lot of I couldn't really, I'd have to get absolutely hammered before I'd play anything. And then I used to have parties just so that I could get drunk and play music for people at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Love that.
Yeah, I was too shy to share it, and also didn't understand that drive and what was in me, because a lot of my experience as a child and as a teenager socially was very difficult. And I experienced a lot of bullying in both primary school. Well, not bullying in primary school, just kind of exclusion in primary school. I found it very hard to have friends and make friends. I was probably a bit of a weird child, And then in secondary school, I had some severe bullying, like some really bad bullying. And so life became kind of more of a social survival thing for me than, there wasn't really that much space for music or for expression then.
Did music help you through that time? I can only imagine it as a young teenager dreading going to school every day. Did you feel that music helped you, or was it straight away go home, work in the nursing home, get your mind away from what happened early in the day?
Yeah, I mean, by the time the nursing home was gone, by the time I was about 15, and I used to listen to like Avril Lavigne and not Avril Lavigne. Sorry, let me say that again. Whoa. I used to listen to Alanis Morissette and Eminem a lot, and my sister used to make me these amazing mixtapes of female vocalists like Tori Amos and Beth Orton, and so I used to listen to a lot of that kind of thing. I also used to listen to a lot of Michael Jackson and the Dirty Dancing soundtrack, and a bit of Elton John, and but it wasn't really something that was in our house. And we didn't really have access to, that was like in the early 90s. I'm like in my 40s now, so. We didn't have access to a lot. Yeah.
And can you remember that one song that you learned yourself on the piano where you realised, you know what, I'm pretty good at this? You were still scared to share it with people, but you began to develop that foundation of what was going to end up being who you are in front of me today. Can you remember a song that kickstarted your career?
Well, my sister Claire is my piano player. So my sister Claire is a gifted piano player, and when we were kids, 3 of us went for piano lessons, and nobody practiced apart from Claire. And we had our lessons on a Wednesday at 5 o'clock for 45 minutes. We had 15 minutes each, but I mean, it was pointless, me and my younger sister even doing nothing, as Claire just wanted all the time and deserved all the time. She was the only one who practiced. So like she'd come home from school every day and practice for an hour, and we wouldn't practice at all until the day that we were going to piano, and then we'd all be fighting over trying to practice. So I was never any good at piano until until much later when I started working with choirs and I had to get better at it and I had to accompany it. And I've heard other people on your show saying the same thing, that like piano is, or the guitar or whatever, is a secondary thing for me. It's always singing. And yeah, I was very good on the low whistle and the recorder and the tin whistle when I was younger. And then this first song that I remember really learning how to sing was Lean On Me, which is a song that has kind of followed me around my whole life. It comes up in so many spaces, or I get asked to sing it, or we sang it at my dad's funeral, or I actually sang it in school at a mass when I was pregnant in school, and it was a really big thing for me to stand up and sing that in school at that time, considering everything that was happening. So yeah, that's probably my first earliest kind of song.
Would you fancy playing it?
Yeah, sure, no problem. Yeah,
amazing. We'll come back to the conversation after.
Okay, cool. Okay, so I'll give you a shortened version of Lean On Me.
Fantastic. Thank you.
So let me start it again. Okay, I'll give you a shortened version of Lean On Me.
Fantastic. Thank you.
So sometimes in our lives we all have pain and we all have sorrow, yeah. If we are wise, we'll know that there's always tomorrow. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. So please swallow your pride if I have things that you need to borrow, for no one can feel those of your needs that you don't let show. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. So if there is a load you have to bear that you can't carry, well, I'm right up that road, and I'll share your load. If you just call me, you just call on me, brother, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you'd understand. We all need somebody to lean on. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on. Oh, for no one can feel those of your needs if you just call me. So call me when you need me, call me, and I'll be there. Call me if you need a friend. If you need me, call me, and I'll be there. Call me if you need a friend. Call me.
Oh my God.
There you go.
That was fantastic.
Very early.
No, that was wonderful. Thank you so much for that.
No problem.
Eimear, that was wonderful.
Thanks.
You alluded to it, but during school you found yourself pregnant.
Yeah, just
your
found
son.
myself.
With your son,
Yeah,
Jamie.
yeah.
How old were you at the time?
I was 17. Yeah,
Okay.
17.
And
So there's 17 years between us, which is amazing. You know, we're best mates. He's currently driving me around for my tour, and we head out for dinner, and you know, we have a great relationship and we're very close. And he's a wonderful, wonderful human being. So it's kind of like all you want for your kids, right? That they're sound.
But it's doing a bit of research, I see that Jamie is a videographer and a photographer, and he's actually helped you a lot with videos in the past.
Yeah, he's an incredible videographer, photographer, beautiful. He knows exactly the kind of shots that he does a lot of candid shots and like audience. Like I really, sometimes, and I mean, photographers are amazing. So you book a photographer, if he's not available and you book a photographer, I get loads of great stuff, but it's never, he really understands what I want. Like I want the audience. I want to know who's there.
Okay.
I want to see pictures of people enjoying the music. I want to see their faces. I want to know. So when I book a different photographer and I get like 50 pictures of me, I'm like, you know what I mean? It's not what I want. I want to capture the atmosphere, the energy, the experience that people are having, and he just does that so well. He's a very sensitive, creative person. He's got a fantastic voice. He's an amazing singer. He's kind of grown up singing. He writes his own music as well, and very creative, able to produce tracks, and he's a lovely guy. Yeah.
It sounds like you've got a terrific family support around you. 7 kids.
Yeah.
It still doesn't make that period any easier. It must have been a tough period for you at the time.
Yeah, it was really difficult, and especially when my relationship with his dad ended, that was a very, very difficult time. He was only 1, and it was very hard. We'd been together for like 5 years, and really thought we all thought we would be together forever, and it just didn't work out that way. We were young. But sorry, I got distracted there.
No, it's okay. I can ask it again if you want.
Yeah, go on.
It's very clear you've got a great family network around you, but that still doesn't make it any easier. It must have been a tough period of time for you going through that.
Yeah, it changed the trajectory of what was the plans. I had planned to go to college, and was torn between nursing and psychology or social work. I always wanted to work in those kind of areas, but obviously I didn't go to college then because I was full-time. Well, actually, I wasn't full-time mom. I was working all the time. And after, when Jamie was about a year, my relationship ended with his dad, and that made things more complicated and difficult. Yeah. But also, I wouldn't change anything. And I've always been a person who really supports reality and believes in everything that's happening for you. It's a friendly universe, and it's taken a lot of work as well to get to that point. A lot of therapy.
But the strength to go through that period, the inner strength you have, there must have been times that I can only imagine it must have been very difficult, but you seem to be in such a great place. You've got such a great relationship with your son, and that's an incredibly powerful thing. Yeah,
I've always had a lot of drive and a lot of ambition. Like I always did want to go back to college, and I always worked very hard. I've always, like I was saying, I always wanted a job from when I was as young as I can remember. I have an incredible family of support. Like my sister Karen, in particular, when Jamie was small, like minded him all the time so I could go back to college, and when I went back to work, and Jamie. Always. Hang on, let me. No, I'm not going to talk about Jamie like that, because actually, let me go
whatever.
Back. Let me
Take
go back
your time.
there. So I'll go back and say about my family 1 second. Okay. So I'm very lucky with my family. My siblings are extremely supportive. I've got like 4 sisters and 2 brothers, and my siblings always had a lot to do with Jamie's care and really supported me with childminding. And my parents were amazing, and they were like my dad was like his dad, and they were very, very close. And I was so lucky with family support. I couldn't have done everything that I've done without the amount of support that I was given. So I really feel for people who don't have that level of support and who don't have access to family support for like babysitting and support. So if you want to go to college, or if you want to, whatever you want to do, that you can do it. I've been really blessed. Yeah.
You were influenced by funk, soul, rock, disco. You joined a band that became an award-winning band, first and foremost with Foxy
and the Good Hands, yeah.
How old were you when that happened?
So what happened was I had written this song called Bitter or Better, which I don't play anymore, and I should play. Actually, one of the Grand Moor gigs, one of the choirs surprised me by doing a choral arrangement of it. It was incredible. I was like, wow, I started to hear it in the soundtrack. I was like, what is this? But I had recorded that with my sister, and it's a kind of a sad song about kind of the bitterness that you feel when a relationship breaks up, and how hard it is, and kind of, and my sister sent it into Chris Marr. Do you know Chris Marr? He's
No.
Dublin Soul Festival. He's
Okay.
at Dublin City FM and Reveal Radio. He's a great supporter of independent artists in Dublin. I know on all over, and he runs Musical Youth Foundation, an incredible organisation that provides music lessons for kids. Anyway, he ran a competition called Rising Stars, and my sister sent it in, and it won. And the prize was a slot at the Dublin Soul Festival.
Oh, wow.
And I had
Gosh.
no band, and I had never performed. And I put together a band of some musicians that I knew that were all younger than me, and I just knew them from different spaces. A drummer, a guitarist. I played piano myself, and yeah, we went and we played it, and it just kind of took off. I had all these songs, like these funk songs, and they were kind of cabaret style, funk, bluesy, cheeky songs. Great fun, you know, so much fun. And so I started to do like little gigs in my house and started to play little festivals, and that was around 2008, 2009. And then the band were fully formed by 2010, and then we won a competition. We played Oxygen in 2011, which was amazing. And
Unreal.
then we won a couple of different music awards at that time, and we played all the festivals, and we went until 2018. We had a great run of things and a really good time. Released a couple of albums and a couple of EPs. And
That song that your sister sent in, do you want to bang out the chorus?
sure.
Put you on the spot.
Hold on 1 second. We're going to have to reset the audio.
That's deadly. Fantastic.
This
Jesus.
is a great story.
That's a
Did you
great
know
story.
that she sent it in?
No.
Then you should say that. Because you didn't know. It's like one of those
Introduce
things that
it.
comes in the mail.
Yeah.
What do you mean I won? We're going, that's like a movie plot right there.
Yeah.
That's how movies, there's a few movies where that's happened. Like,
Yeah.
Someone submits something and next thing you know, like, you win.
Yeah.
Well, she could do it for the intro of this,
Yeah,
and then you
perfect.
can add that for the video
Perfect.
piece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just a little chorus. I know, just footnotes. That's all.
I'll play the verse and chorus. You can choose
What?
what you want to pick out of it.
We'll use all of it. Trust me. Whatever you're willing to give, we'll use.
Okay, so when she sent this in, I didn't even know she had sent this in. To remember how it goes. Take me away on a trip overseas, and we'll take pictures to seal all our memories, and we'll laugh and we'll dance, and everything will seem so perfect. I can dream, I can dream, 'cause I've been tainted, I've been tarnished, inside of my heart has been drained. I've been hidden and I've been hiding, I've been standing out in the rain, 'cause it's easier than dealing with pain. And if you get bitter, you can't get better, and bitterness tastes so sweet. And I'd like to wallow for a little. It's time to admit defeat. Healing is never complete. And on and on.
Beautiful. What was the inspiration for that song? Stunning lyrics. Amazing.
Yeah, it was about the breakup between. Do you want to wait for that?
Oh my God. Jesus, beautiful. That's like just really smooth, isn't it? It's like it's just really smooth. Just close that door even. That was gorgeous. Jesus Christ. How old were you when you wrote that?
I wrote that early, like maybe.
Post breakup with
Yeah.
your fella and
Yeah. It was about
So-
that.
yeah, well, I can ask the question. Thanks, big fella.
We're good, yeah.
Incredible lyrics, and
Thank
I
you.
love that. What was the inspiration for that song?
It was about it's about the choice to stay bitter instead of getting better, because when you have something that happens that's so devastating and you're so broken about it, and you could let it go, but you're just not able because you're too young, or it's too hard, or you're reminded of it too much, or for whatever reason you just can't. So you're in this space between an imagination of like this beautiful life where you go overseas and you take pictures for your memory books and you know, this dream life, and then the reality is that like you actually feel unlovable and you feel tainted and you feel nobody's ever going to want you, and that you're going to stay in that energy is quite addictive, and a choice that you can make, and that I made for a good few years, just to sit into that bitterness and that sadness until I was ready to let it go. And then when I was ready to let it go, it was the most amazing thing to let it go. So yeah, that's what it's about, staying bitter, choosing to stay bitter instead of getting better.
It's lovely to hear a song with lyrics that tells you that side, because very often a song is about the good side and how you came out of it, but it's actually really nice to have a song that is actually built around that.
It's like
lovely.
the bridge of it says, I'll stay bitter, I'm not a quitter. It's like, I won't fucking give up on this, you know?
It's brilliant.
Yeah.
So it's funny, when I was looking you up and I was doing some research, I thought you had 2 award-winning bands, which was Foxy and The Good Hands.
Okay.
So now I know, I've learned today it's the one name. So
there you go.
2018, you finished with that group, and then Scars, your first single album, came out in the same year.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
For you, who'd been through so much, you've been in the band, I'm sure there was at times, you alluded to it, that confidence issue. You're naturally a shy person. When you had your own album and you had it in your hands and you were able to touch it, that must have been an incredibly powerful moment for you.
Yeah, it was really about like letting go of the character of Foxy, and I still wear this Foxy necklace. I've had this.
Okay.
I've had various of this for somebody gave it to me years and years ago, and I always wear it because that character is part of me, you know, this kind of ballsy, you know, like a lot of, like I'm playing the ballads for you, but like we played a lot of like sexy songs, a lot of like, you know, we had a lot of choreography, we had a lot of it was like kind of big, bulgy, like, you know, it was a lot of fun. Like we headlined, like we headlined Knock and Stockin' a few times, and like we played like high energy music, like people were dancing high energy funk music, like a lot of, content about like being big and ballsy and sexy and all of those things, and it was a character, and it was so fun to play, you know, with a great time playing it. But also as working through those elements in your 20s and 30s kind of go down, and secretly I'm writing all this other music that's really going back to the bitter or better, and going back to the more emotional stuff that was really about life's experience, and songs like Enough and songs like Scars, and these songs that are written to help people be seen and understood and to help really process emotion. And it just took a long time for me to have the courage to share that stuff, which was, and there's nothing wrong with this stuff, like it was so fun, you know. But underneath that, there was all this other music that was really about my authentic experiences in life, and all the different things that I'd been through, and all the things I'd been through as I worked through like a lot of body issues, and like I've lost a lot of weight and transformed my look over the years. Like at that time I was, you know, about I don't know, 6 stone heavier than I am now. And I've been through a lot of health changes and a lot of personal development work, and to get to where I am now, kind of matching inside and out, and working through a lot of, you know, body stuff. So yeah, it's just been a slow process of allowing those 2 characters to be, and now that I'm kind of so solidly in this real version of myself, I can allow her back in, and I notice I'm starting to kind of write a couple more songs that have that cheeky cabaret feel. And I was bringing stuff to the band recently, they were like, oh, this is very Foxy, and I was like, there's a little bit of Foxy thrown in. So it's nice.
Big transformation, both physically and mentally, and I must say I've got to applaud you for that, because it's very hard. I'm sure at the very start, was there a defining moment when you're like, I'm done with this, I'm getting ready now, I'm going to...
With weight?
With your mind, with your whole lifestyle. Was there a direct change?
I mean, it's been a lifetime battle for me, so it's been something that I've struggled with all of my life, and I've kind of maintained the weight that I am now for about 2 years now. And that's very new, so I would have always been up a little, down a little, up a little, down a little, but the amount that I have lost. And I also had after I'd finished losing all that weight, I had skin removal surgery as well, which I've talked about before online or shared about before online, which was absolutely transformative. So yeah, I'm very much more comfortable than I've ever been in my body, and very open to talking to people about that, because, you know, if you don't know me, or if you're new to my music, or you come and see a show, you see somebody that looks, you know, I'm really lucky that I have really beautiful clothes that like I get made from the work. I work in Zimbabwe. I can tell you about that in a minute, but I have a dressmaker over there who makes me the most beautiful original clothes, and I don't have a dressmaker, she's not mine, but I when I go there, I have a friend who makes clothes, who I ask to make me clothes. And so if you come to see a show, you see somebody who looks very stylish, who looks very comfortable in their body, who looks very confident, and those things are true, but it's a very long process to have gotten to that point. And I'm so open to talking to people about that struggle, because I know it so deeply and so well.
People find it, you know, inspiring. People need to hear that story, because there's lots of people going through similar bumps in the road, and when they hear a story that resonates with them, that's all it takes to spark them into a place where they can improve. And we all need that.
And the thing about it is that, like, being overweight, or you know, living with overweight is hard, and managing the psychology of what that's done to you for your whole life is hard, and maintaining a new way is hard, and they're both hard, and you just got to choose your hard. It's just that this one that I've gotten to now is just a little bit easier than this one, but it's very slight. You know, people underestimate how difficult it is to maintain weight loss and to change habits of a lifetime, and it's, people think, oh, like people who've never struggled with food or eating disorders or weight problems or addiction, you know, presume it's just you can just choose to have a different way, but it's so complex,
of course.
And you need a lot of support. And I just had tried so many different things, and then the combination, I just got a combination that worked for me, you know. Really good doctor, really good support team, like talk therapy, you know, exercise, gym, and staying on top of it every single day, and having a support team. Like, you know, the way everybody has some yes people in their life, you just have the people who, when you have an idea, you're going to talk to them first. You're not going to talk to your no people. You're going to talk to your yes people. And
get the good vibes going.
Yeah, there's somebody who's just going to go, yeah, you can do it. Yeah, and I'm really lucky that I have a good few yes people in my life, and I'm a yes person for other people. So when somebody says, I've got this idea, I'm like, yes, do it. You know.
Yeah, brilliant.
So I'm really lucky with the friends that I've cultivated, the friendships I've cultivated over the years, and the relationships that I have, and everybody in my community, the SUSO, the Speak Up Sing Out is abbreviated to SUSO a lot of the time. We have a massive amount of choirs and people in our doors, and it's just full of so much support and so much love. So I'm supported in every area of my life now, which is just an incredible it's a very different experience than, you know, 25 years ago when I was in school and being bullied and felt I had no friends, and felt like I didn't have the confidence to share what was going on properly with my family. And so it's very different.
If you were to communicate something, and I say this very often, if there's a girl who's currently 16, 17, 18, 19, around that age bracket, who's going through a tough time in school at the moment, regardless of whether they're about to, you know, have a baby, or whether they're going through bullying, or whether they're going through addiction issues, what would be the one piece of advice that you could communicate with that person based off your background?
Yeah, like just that it's not for life. You know, it's hard right now, but it's not for life. It's not forever. That there, you know, more options, and it's just to hold on to that, like, because it's grand to say, oh, talk to somebody or confide in people, but you know, that doesn't always. Sometimes that helps, and sometimes it doesn't help. But it's like to find the inner knowing, like get still with yourself and really just get in touch with yourself, and just find that inner connection to yourself, and just keep repeating a mantra like, this is not forever. And you know, things will change, and I have choices, and I can choose how I react. I can choose how I speak to myself. I can choose how I talk to myself. I can choose what thoughts I believe. I can question if what I'm believing is true. Just to try and go down that route of just not believing that everything that's happening is for life and this is your life forever, because it's really not. You know, there's a whole world out there out after school.
Yeah, that's a great piece of advice. You've just mentioned that you do some work in Zimbabwe. I have to ask, what you do in Zimbabwe?
Oh, my favourite. I say that about all of my work, but I'm so privileged to work in Zimbabwe. I'm there once a year, and I work online. So I don't know if you've ever heard of the work of Byron Katie. She's an American.
Yeah.
Have you heard of her? Okay,
Yeah,
wow.
well, my wife has.
Oh,
So
amazing.
I've heard her name.
I was just actually with her daughter last weekend, Roxanne Burrows,
Okay.
on a retreat. Yeah, amazing. Really, really amazing stuff. So I've been doing that work for a long time, since about 2011 or 12. It was kind of that was the start of my journey into personal development, and I found that work and I was like, okay, I don't have to believe everything I think. Okay. Anyway, my best friend and my colleague, and we joke saying that she's my wife, we're each other's wives, Nadine Ferris-France, she's a facilitator of the work, and she has an organisation called Beyond Stigma. It's a charity, and she works all over the world. Actually, she works with like gender-based violence. She works with sex workers, with HIV is the area that we work in. And she has adapted this program where hang on, let me start that again. It touched my heart, and the Irish kids are like, yeah, it was all right. Like,
I mean, you can see the power of vitamin D.
yeah, oh, for sure.
That's brilliant.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, maybe if you just start again with the Zimbabwe thing.
Sure,
Yeah.
Bring that out.
Yeah.
So you mentioned it, but you do work in Zimbabwe. Fascinating. What do you do over there?
So have you ever heard of the work of Byron Katie?
Yes, through my wife.
Okay, so for anybody who doesn't know, the work of Byron Katie is inquiry-based stress reduction.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a form of looking at stressful thoughts and applying a set of questions to a stressful thought to try and free yourself a little bit from the stress that thought is bringing into your life. It's kind of like a spiritual CBT almost, although I'd probably be killed for describing it as that. But yeah, it's a process of working on thinking. And I've been doing it for about 11 or 12 years now. And one of my best friends is a facilitator in that work, and we do retreats together where I teach the music and I sing live for people who are learning about these processes. We actually have one next weekend on the island of Inisheer, which I can't wait for. But so Nadine is the director of Beyond Stigma, which is a charity that works all over the world. And Nadine is really ahead of her game. She's really ahead of the times. She really understands about stigma. So stigma for people living with HIV. Sorry, let me say that again. So Nadine is really ahead of her time. She works on the area of self-stigma and shame, which is really starting to be recognised by like the UN and by all the research bodies as where change can really happen. So we've always thought that like if you work in areas that are high in poverty, if you give them money or you give them resources, that it will change things. But we're starting to see, because we thought that the problem was societal stigma, but actually the real problem is self-stigma. It's what we think about ourselves, not what society thinks about us, because it doesn't matter if we change what society thinks about us. It's not going to empower us to do anything if we haven't changed what we think about us. So the work on self-stigma and shame is this program called Wakakosha that we do in Zimbabwe.
Wow.
So we work with young people aged 16 to 24 who are living with HIV, and we teach them about how to apply this process of working on their thinking about themselves, about the fact that they live with HIV, and working on their idea of their self-stigma and their shame. And I teach the music on that program. So I train young people in music facilitation. I bring my music, like the song you mentioned earlier on, Enough.
Yeah.
That's one of the songs in the curriculum. A new song that I have called Precious Rare is a big one on the curriculum. Different chants that I write for them. And we use music throughout each module to help to move the process of the emotions of what we're looking at through the body. So sometimes, especially with young people, it's quite difficult, the topics that we're looking at. So sometimes we need a song that brings us deeper into helping release the emotion. Other times we need to sing and don't worry about a thing, to lift the energy and let go of some of the emotion that we're trying to get out of the body. So it's my favorite job. It's amazing. I do it online. I have a group of young people called Creativity Cats. Cats are the name given to the young people who are working in the community. They're the people who are training other young people in the community. And my group are called Creativity Cats because they're people who show real promise with music and musicality and leadership. So I train them, and then they go out into other communities and teach this Wakakosha program. And we also write songs. So we wrote a song last year called Wakakosha. It's available on YouTube. It's a beautiful song.
Wow.
Like Wakakosha, you're worth it. Wakakosha, you are important. Wakakosha is Shona for you're worth it. And in the language. And then we wrote a song this year called Dear Me, which is based on all of the letters the young people write to themselves at the end of the program about like working on self-forgiveness and self-stigma and shame.
Beautiful.
It's really beautiful work.
Do they all collaborate for that song?
Yeah.
That's
The
amazing.
music video, my son is working on the music video for that now. It'll be out soon. Yeah.
God, it just shows your music is so powerful.
Yeah.
It's such a great healer, isn't it?
Yeah, it's incredible. It's such amazing work. And the young people over there.
Could you reference the other music video you talked about already creating? You said you created one.
Wakakosha. Yeah.
But you created a music video and how the story you told about the
Zimbabweans.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah,
sure.
That's a good one because we can kind of pop that in on a visual thing and showcase like that difference.
Yeah,
you know,
great.
I can ask that question.
Yeah, great.
Do you find a difference dealing with coaching singing to Irish people versus helping Zimbabweans?
Yeah, I mean it's a different culture, it's a different way of being, but the young people in Zimbabwe, it's very different not growing up in the West. They're very present, they're very grateful, they're very humble. They're so grateful for everything that you do. And I did a collaboration project between an Irish youth choir, and my first one that I did was with an Irish youth choir, my youth choir, and with the young people in Zimbabwe. And I taught them one of my songs, Choose to Dance, and we paired up an Irish person with a Zimbabwean, and they sang together and they recorded remotely. It was during COVID. They recorded remotely and we made a virtual video. It's called Choose to Dance. Vandiri is the name of it on YouTube. And it was, it was amazing. And yeah, they all shone in their own ways. The Irish teenagers are much more quiet and much more awkward, don't know what to say really, how to express. And then the Zimbabweans are so much more like, wow, I'm so deeply touched from the bottom of my heart, and I feel like God himself came down and gave me this opportunity to sing for you. And then the Irish kids are like, yeah, that was cool. But it was amazing, really beautiful experience. And our choirs have always been involved in World AIDS Day, which is on the 1st of December every year, so we've often sang in Smock Alley for that. It's just to spread awareness.
Your journey is fascinating. I think before we talk about Quiver, your second album that you released in 2022, is there any chance of banging out even the song Enough from Scars?
Yeah, sure, no problem.
I'd love to hear it. It's a beautiful song, and the lyrics as well.
Yeah.
Give us a second, we're going to reset this.
Yeah, geez, it
should just be a dial tone.
I go to Ghana a bit. I work with an immersion group over there. It's they're so grateful. I'm going to Lourdes and I go to Medjugorje a bit. And when you're dealing with people who have nothing, they're so much more grateful than people who have everything.
I know.
It's incredible. It really opens your eyes to...
Yeah, and I have to be careful as well about saying that, because when I come back and I work with the teens, it's like, because they're dealing with so much more. Yeah. They're dealing with, the teens today, Jesus Christ, I wouldn't have survived.
Yeah. Mobile phones, if they're out when I was around, I'd be currently somewhere else. I wouldn't be here.
Yeah, there would have been, because of what I was experiencing, and I don't want to talk about this necessarily on camera. Oh, actually, do I care? No, I don't really care. I just think, how I would have been targeted then would have been like groups and Facebook pages and, images being circulated and photos, and it would have been... because all of a version that wasn't online of that was already happening. So if it had been magnified and amplified by social media, oh my God.
But that's the harder part. Growing up in my era, it was very much physical bullying, particularly between males. Of course, you get catcalling and you can have abuse being thrown at you. But now it's done behind a computer screen. Gang up where it's secretive, you can't even see it. So you can have somebody who's being bullied that you don't even realise is being bullied. And that's the worst, because they're on their own. They're isolated from everyone else. So, that's why you're doing what you're doing. It's to bring awareness. It's to help teenagers come through tough, dark times, and music does that. Yeah. And that's what I love hearing from you and from your passion. Are you going to play the song Enough for us? Thank you so much.
Okay, so this is the song Enough that I wrote for my sister Anna and my nephew Aubrey. Hard times you've been dealing with, hard lines you've been drawing in, gotta ease your way. Long fight you've been putting in, risking it all as you begin to clear your mind. And it's okay if you weep for yourself, and it's okay if you need to ask for help. What if what what you're hiding is what we see and what we love? And what if it's time for you to say, I've had enough? Long time you've been waiting now, watching the world pass you by, waiting for your turn. It's not how you wanted it, it's not how it's supposed to be. You ask what happened to me. And it's okay if you weep for yourself. And it's okay if you need to ask for help. What if what you're hiding is what we see and what we love? What if it's time for you to say, I've had enough? And I am enough. I am enough. I am enough. I am enough. It's okay if you weep for yourself. And it's okay if you need to ask for help. What if what you're hiding is what we see and what we love? What if it's time for you to say, I am enough? Oh, enough, enough.
That is so beautiful. That's beautiful.
Thanks.
You're good on the piano.
Oh, I'm
You
okay.
underplay yourself.
I mean, I had to get good because when I was doing support for Jack L, I was only ever allowed to be by myself.
Okay.
You know, and then with Mary Coughlin as well, it was me and Dave, so it just made sense for me to get better at the piano.
Yeah.
But if I have a choice, I'd always have a piano player and just stand and sing.
And
But I do love it, you know.
Dave's your go-to guitarist.
Dave's been my guitarist since dot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I had a friend, Haas, actually, who played with me in the very early days. Dave played guitar for a gospel choir that I worked with, Selbridge Gospel Choir, and he was only a teenager, and he was just so good at guitar, and he just stood out as such a brilliant guitarist. He was just always. He's got perfect pitch, yeah. He's amazing. So like, it's both amazing and annoying. Like I'll be in the car and I'll be practicing something singing, and he'd be like, "You're in the wrong key," because he's got perfect pitch and it annoys him. But he's amazing. And when we played Oxygen, it was a Fantastival. I think it was Fantastival actually, and he was doing his leaving cert, and his dad had to drive him to the gig and then pick him up and go, and then he had to go back home. He was only 17. He was doing his leaving cert, so he was with us from then, you know.
God.
So. Yeah, he's 30 now. Yeah.
Will he be with you now for the rest
Forever.
of your tour?
Yeah, forever. Yeah.
Okay, good,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
The song "Love Is a Losing Game."
Yeah.
Was that from the album Quiver?
Geez, I can't even remember. I think is it on Quiver? Yeah, it's on Quiver. Yeah, it is on Quiver. I released it as a single before Quiver came out, I think. God, it's hard to remember the timeline of them all.
Yeah, and what was the inspiration for that song?
Just a little nod to Amy Winehouse. A nod to her. I love the song, and I just kind of did my own kind of 6/8 timing version of it, and I used to always play it live, and it always went down well, and I just decided to record it then.
When you say 6/8 timing, that just means that the beat's
yeah.
slightly
So instead,
different.
yeah, it's like da 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 da. For you, I was a flame. Love is a losing game, and so it's slightly different than her
Fantastic.
version, you know. Just a more swung kind of version than hers.
I'd read somewhere as I was trying to prepare for this that Amy would have been a big influence in you as well.
Absolutely, just
stunning.
Stunning, and also just so sad, just the that tortured artist thing, and the depths that we have all this music and creativity inside us, and how creative people really need to be minded. And I don't think she was very well minded.
But watching that unfold, that must have resonated with you based off your own experience.
Yeah. I remember actually when she died, we were at Knockenstocken, and we were playing, and we were playing the circus tent, which was like the main tent, or one of the main tents, I can't even remember, but we were the last act, and the word kind of flew around the festival that Amy Winehouse had died. And you know the way you don't know if it's true or not at a festival, like the way rumors go around, and then we realized, like, God, it is true. And we played Valerie, and we just said, we can't believe this news come true. We played Valerie, and everybody was like, it was a really big moment. Just so hard to believe that had happened. It was so sad.
Gone too young. Like so many great artists, they deal with so much that we just don't get an opportunity to see.
Yeah.
And they can disguise it very well.
Yeah.
It's a tough one. You have, at the end of your tour, finishing in Galway, I'm going to guess and say I'm looking at my notes here. It is in July?
June.
There you go.
You were close.
So I'm wrong. I was close. I got the J right. It's been a successful tour.
Yeah.
2024, what can we expect to hear from you?
Well, this tour, when it's finished, I'm going to release a couple more singles this year. I'm working on recording my third album as Eimear, and I'm hoping to have it out in October. But I'm just kind of enjoying releasing singles at the moment, which is, I've always released albums, but I'm enjoying releasing singles. So I've got 2 lined up to come out, one at the end of June, and then one in August. I've got a couple of festivals coming up in the summer, but I go away a lot in the summer. So I'm over in Warsaw teaching on a program called European Vocal Camp, teaching creativity coaching and vocals, and mostly the personal development side of the music industry to young singers and artists. Well, not just young, but loads of different singers and artists. And then I'm going to Japan on a trip to see Japan.
Have you been there before?
No.
It's stunning.
Is it?
Stunning.
Yeah, I'll have to
Great
get your
culture.
recommendations.
Calm, quiet. It's and the people are just beautiful.
Yeah.
The food is also wonderful.
Amazing.
You'll have a good time. You tell a great story. I appreciate that when you're going to the likes of Zimbabwe, or you're going to Warsaw, or you're going anywhere, or in Ireland, you have a teaching style that is that's authentic. But it must be a challenge to be able to get deep into the soul of each individual to really connect.
I don't find it difficult, okay. Which I think is my thing. It's like, if you're working with somebody and you can cut through all of the layers of identity and cut through all of the fears people have, and just sit with somebody in a really open and transparent way and really get to the core of what's going on, you can make changes really quickly, which is why I've never met anybody I couldn't teach how to sing. Because it's usually so many layers of something happened to cut off somebody's creativity, or somebody had a negative experience. And once you actually filter down past the experiences and get back to connection with yourself, then you can actually teach anybody how to sing.
Yeah, I have a brother, Graham.
Send him to me.
I have to say, honestly, he prides himself. I think he is one of the worst singers on the planet.
Send him to me.
Would you be able to teach him how to sing?
I would give you, I'd bet my house on it.
I might have to, because
I'd bet anything on it.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I might take up on that offer.
Yeah, that man I mentioned earlier, John Reddy. Yeah, he sang that night, and he sang a bit of Amazing Grace back 10 years ago. And last night we were at Gospel Choir, and we have this thing once a month called Open Heart, Open Mic, where people's names are put into a hat, and some people are pulled out, and they just get up and sing a song in front of the group. So that was on last night, and we were also rehearsing for Darkness into Light coming up, so we were kind of singing through loads of different material, so there was a real air of sharing, and so we were practicing Hallelujah, Leonard Cohen, and I said,
song.
Anybody who has never sang this song before and who hasn't done a solo in ages, get up here and sing this song. And I just seen him stand up, and I was like, wow, because this man came to me singing one note, He came to me singing one note when he first started to sing. And his wife sang, and his two beautiful girls, Roshan and Kaylin, sang. They all sang, and he just wanted to be able to sing a song. That's all he wanted. And he had never sang a thing. And when he came, he was singing one note, like 2 notes. I'd say sing a lower note, and he'd go, ah, and I'd go sing a higher note, and he'd go, ah. It was like, he couldn't hear it.
Yeah.
And then he just started working really hard, and he joined the choir, and he just worked really hard. He did everything I told him to do. And there he was last night singing Hallelujah, which is
good on you, John.
You know, yeah, good on you, John.
Good
it
on
has
you.
an octave and a half range, that song, and he
You
sang.
play that
you
in
know.
G?
Yeah, he was doing it in G last night. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, and he
Jesus.
just sang it, you know. And he's still nervous, and he's still like has little places where he needs more support, and you know, he's like still on his journey, but like it's amazing what anybody can learn how to do it. It's a myth. It's honestly, it's a myth that people can't. If you can talk, you can sing. Same muscle.
So the next leg of your tour is the Lark in Balbriggan.
Can't wait for that.
On the 9th of May.
9th of May. Then down to the Marina Market in Cork for a daytime run of it, which is going to be amazing because they have a big, it's a really cool place, all full of food stalls and
Lovely.
a market. So we're doing a daytime version there. So in the Lark, we're with Balbriggan Gospel Choir. In the Marina Market, we're with the Indie Voiceworks Choir, all female choir. Then the following week, we're down in Gorey with the Voices of Gorey Choir, which are a 100-piece women's choir who just started in January and reached out to me on Instagram and are just like have gotten so involved in this whole thing.
At the little theatre in Gorey.
Yeah, the little theatre in
good
Gorey. It's
venue.
nearly sold out, yeah. And then the next day, we're in Trim with the Trim Women's Shed Choir, the Treble Makers. Yeah.
The Treble Makers.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it?
Superb.
And then we're in Galway with the Moycullen Musical Society and with Tommaso Concha, who's their leader, and he's also going to perform as well. He's a songwriter. He's fabulous, yeah.
I did not think this conversation would get to the point that I realise that I'm in front of somebody who helps so many people all over the country and all over the world through music.
Yeah, that's my purpose.
It's incredible, and I just honestly I'm speechless. I think what you're doing is terrific.
Thank you.
You're obviously extremely talented, but most importantly, to have the ability to help others is the greatest skill you can have in the world, and you do it at, it seems, such an ease. I want to thank you so much for coming on to the
You're so
show.
welcome.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Is there any way in the world you'd sing us out with a little song?
Yeah, sure.
And I want to thank you. It's been wonderful. Thank you.
Okay, I'll play you Scars, since that's what I
Lovely.
finish every single show with.
Did you, I know this is in the album 2018, but when did you actually write this song?
I wrote this song in 2011,
Okay.
and I was fostering at the time. Sorry, I know my life goes in so many different directions, but I was
Didn't even talk about that.
I was fostering at the time, and I used to do supported lodgings, it was called. It was meant to be for 16 to 18 year olds who were learning how to transition out of care into independent living, but it ended up being with people of all ages, actually from 11 up. But I was fostering at the time, and I had a girl who was self-harming a lot, and she was covered in scars. And then I had another young person in my life who I was doing a lot of support work with, and she had a lot of emotional scars. And it was like this idea of like whether your scars are physical on your body or whether they're inside, that like we were trying to hide them and we're trying to pretend we don't have them, but actually your scars mean that you survived something, right? So you can look at them and be like, oh, I made it. I'm still here, be them external scars or internal. So that's what the song is about. So
Before you start, you were fostering kids, transitioning.
yeah.
How many kids did you foster over the course of that
I had
time?
about 12. I did a lot of respite and short term, so I had about 12 young people I got to know in that time. The longest I had somebody was for about 9 months, 10 months. Chancellevie, yeah, she was amazing.
And would they live under your roof?
Mm-hmm.
And you still in touch with these people?
No.
So you just brought them in?
Yeah, it would be like I did a lot of respite, so like other families that needed a break or somebody who needed somewhere before they got independent living, or so I just get a call and I'd be like, okay, somebody coming tomorrow, and they might be there for like a month, they might be there for a couple of weeks. The longest was Chancellevie I had for 9 months. Yeah.
God, you tell a hell of a tale, and I'm looking forward. We have to do a part 2 now, because it seems like we're only opening this book that is a big book full of interesting pages.
There's I've told you about a quarter of it.
Yeah, so we've got maybe 4 parts left. But playing us out,
Okay.
Eimear Crehan, thank you so much for coming on.
No problem.
Appreciate it.
Do you need to adjust anything before we? I'll move this a bit away as well because it's quite a loud sound.
Yeah.
At times.
Yeah, feel free to push the mic or whatever you like, whatever's good there for you.
This song is like a little bit longer. It's like maybe up to 5 minutes, so I don't know.
Whatever you want to do, you feel, wherever it goes, this is the last thing. We'll have you back in the car in no
Maybe
time.
I'll do a shortened version of it. Maybe I'll just do one verse and chorus.
Whatever you feel comfortable with, we're good with. Be yourself.
You've got a time limit for your podcast.
Don't worry about that. Oh, we'll edit everything down, so
Yeah.
don't worry about any of that.
Okay, well, I'll just play the whole thing and you can choose if you want to take bits out. Okay, so this is Scars. Yes, it's been long, yes, it's been hard, but surely that's life's plan. To teach you the ways of the human condition, the errors and downfalls of man. To remind you of who you need to become, see mercy before you sleep. To make you alive as the energy falls through the burning tears that you weep. Do these scars cover the whole of you, like the stars and moons in the sky? A sad story means the storyteller's alive, so don't you cry. The next thing you know, something fine will happen and you'll turn around and smile, so wipe your eyes. A scar means you survived and life is real. So stand tall out on your own, embracing what's ahead. Listen to music and dance as you laugh, and empty your soul of its lead. Let down your borders and open your floodgates and try and do as you feel. And always remember that this is it, life is real, life is a real. The stars and moons in the sky. A sad story means the storyteller's alive, so don't you cry. The next thing you know, something fine will happen and you'll turn around and smile, so wipe your eyes. A scar means you survived and life is real. So don't be afraid of the night, for the darkness amends the scars of the day. And don't spend your life just wishing your thoughts and your memories away. Remember each heartache and let it serve to remind you of who you are. And open your heart to the mysteries that lay ahead, and you'll go far. Cover the whole of you, like the stars and moons in the sky. A sad story means the storyteller's alive, so don't you cry. The next thing you know, something fine will happen and you'll turn around and smile, so wipe your eyes. A scar means you survive and life is real.
That is just magic.
Produced by the Melrose Future Company.